Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. All right guys, what a lot of lot of Friday, and there's a lot of cover today. I mean, a lot of people were caught off guard, not in our community but outside the community. I saw a lot of people, caught off guard short, and we'll discuss that. We will discuss all that. We talked about the rotation in last video, and we will go in detail what happened on Friday and see, talk about that. Anyways, before I start, just a quick introduction to anybody who's new to my YouTube, or new to my Twitter, or new to my community, or new to my videos. So guys, all these recaps and all these teachings, I share or what I go through are all from the trades that we take in our community, or any trade ideas that I tweet out, or any trade ideas that I share with you guys on YouTube. It's from there. I'm not taking all the trades. A lot of these trades are being taken by my traders in my community, and some of the trades I take, I show them as well. But the point that we are going to talk about here is that we always stick with the repeatable setups. We have repeatable setups that we can repeat for whole of our life. We have a repeatable system that thousands of traders across the world use to trade consistently and have found success. So we use that repeatable system, Ripster EMA Clouds, that I will talk about. And every morning, my team, we prepare a game plan. This is our game plan, so that we know what stocks are in play, what stocks we need to play. This is a game plan today. You see they're divided into earning plays, news plays, upgrade, downgrades, so forth. That's how we divide it. And then we also have some technical plays as well. As you see, we are watching the real estate sector, IWM sector, all that sector for the long side. And we had Fast, JPM, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and all these names as well on our watch list as earning plays. So earning season is starting, so we have our repeatable setups for earning that we play. Additionally, we had news for Boeing, Tesla, Netflix, Apple, Microsoft as well. So we review the news, and we make a general bias or a pre-market plan. In addition to that, I also share what we call as my daily levels. These are my Ripster daily levels. These are the levels that we use every day to go long or short, right? If it's breaking a resistance pivot, in today's case, we go long because resistance has been cleared and it's over EMA Cloud. You can pause the screen and you can review how we use these levels every day, but these levels are consistently used to trade long or short and stay with the trend. In addition to that, I also have something I call day 2, day 3 setups. This is a repeatable strategy that I have invented using my cloud system, and I show them every day how a lot of plays. For example, today we'll talk about QS, ENPH, Pepsi. Those plays, not all of them will trigger, some of them will trigger, and if I like them, I'll always share it with my community. But we share this watch list as well in the morning with everyone in the community. And also, of course, we watch crypto stocks. So I provide these crypto levels to everyone in the pre-market. Today, these crypto levels really came handy for the long on MSTR that we are going to discuss. Usually at the open, when the market opens, I'm on the voice 5 minutes before the market open, and I stay on the voice for first 2 to 3 hours, guiding the community through various trades, longs and shorts, and we will discuss how we traded that. You will see a lot of my timestamped comments here, right here. So this is a snapshot of our community, which has all our scanners, yes, my feed, and there's a trading floor where hundreds and hundreds of traders are sharing ideas all day, and we get through our trading day. So anyways, that's introduction about what we do here and how we're going to proceed. Let's start with the first play of the day. So alright guys, so we're gonna start with our SPY and QQ trades, right? A lot of Friday, so we're gonna talk about how we traded SPY QQ. Before I go into detail, let's look at the daily charts. So what did happen yesterday? We had a big red candle, right, on SPY. We had a big red candle on Qs, right? Qs was bigger candle. It was selling more than SPY. So what was the plan for today? First of all, guys, what I seen on Friday, a lot of people struggling. Any trade you take, you need two things. You need a trend system. What is a trend system? Trend trading system tells you when what is the trend. It basically tells you it's a bullish trend or is it a bearish trend. That's what the trend trading system tells you. If you cannot identify the trend, then you cannot take a trade with confidence to either side, long or short. So so you need a trend system. So we have a trend system. And then you need a pivots, which is a support and resistance pivots, which tells you that once that level is crossed, something tends to move to that side. If it's a support pivot, if it's broken, we move to the downside. If it's a resistance pivot, we move to the upside. So if you see, I talk all about that. The reason I talk about all those two things is because that's what we use to long today. First of all, you see this EMA Clouds here. Maybe I can make go bigger. Let's look here, right? So what are you seeing? All day the trend is bearish. Then we have a range, up, down, up, down, up, down. There's even a smaller range in this area, up, down, up, down, up, down. That's telling you the market doesn't want to go down. So if you're a short, would you just short here? No. A good professional trader wouldn't, because he knows that there's a buyer here. Why would I short if I know it goes down, bounces up, goes down, bounces up, goes down, bounces up? Then if it doesn't go down, then why would I short? And what is it? It's yesterday's lows and pre-market lows. And same thing for QQQ. And it's the same thing for futures. If you trade futures, I can go to futures and it's the same thing. Let's look at look at the NASDAQ. It's the same thing. What do you see here? These are the NASDAQ futures. And these are the QQ futures, right? If I'm a futures trader, I use the same system, 10-minute system to trade futures, right? If I want to short, why would I short if clearly this level is not breaking down? This level is a pivot. So you need to understand that. And now it's also a pattern, the pattern that I teach you again and again and again, which is a range break pattern. This is the range, up, down, down, up, down, and then finally we break out of the range. So this right here, guys, this is, let me see if I can find something. So right here things turn bullish. Right here things turn bullish. They already started to turn bullish when you see the EMA is going up, the price going over 3450 Ripster EMA Clouds, price going over 3450 EMA Clouds. So this red flag tells you that it's no longer a short. It's no longer a short, no longer a short. But people fail to realize that. They come into the today or Friday, they came into the day because we had this big red candle, assuming they already have a bias that yes, we're going to fail more. Assuming we have a big red candle, we're going to fail more. Like the levels I showed you, if we are not breaking under the yesterday's lows, there is no short. To have a red candle, big red candle and short, you need that to fade, just like this day. You short this day, right? Just like the last time we were failing like this day. And look what happened in this candle. This candle held pre-market lows and bounced, held previous day lows and bounced. Every time it holds the previous day lows, there is a no short and you get squeezed out. You get squeezed out. Yeah, this is the wrong candle. I mean, this was still a short intraday, but it's right back up. But my point I'm trying to make is, like in the combination with, and this is not hard to learn and understand how this works, right? You can see that, if I do the ES futures, you can see an S&P futures, clearly there's a trend to the upside, and clearly there's a range upside. This, my friends, is not hard to predict, right? And same thing for SPY QQQ, right? It's the same thing, because those are the futures of that. The Qs, the NQs, Q futures, and then those are the SPY futures. Now, how did we trade that? How did we manage it? How did we make money on this idea that I just described to you? Hopefully you understood that. If you were short today and if you lost a lot of money, remember these concepts. Next time, remember what you have to do. Remember the previous day lows. Remember the range. Remember the where does things turn bullish, where you should stop thinking about being short. All right, so we came in the market with our levels ready. I was on the voice 557 and 493. Those were the two levels here. 557 was on SPY. We were ready. Yeah. So here are the SPY levels. So we were ready 557 and 493. So as soon as the market opens, and also guys, 10 a.m. rule is a very important rule that you need to watch. So I was watching these candles, what SPY is going to do. As soon the first candle, indecision, because the first candle is not broken over these pivots. You need pivots to decide you long on a short. Right now we are not doing anything. Why we are not doing anything? If I short here, I could get squeezed when this candle moves up. Right? If I short here, I could get squeezed when this candle moves up. So we wait. It pulls back right here. There's a red candle on 10-minute, and I only use 10-minute. I don't even need to go to smaller time frame. It swipes back. That tells me it's bullish. This candle pushes over this pivot level. That tells me bullish. Now I'll show you my timed comments. Of course, there's a lot of things I said on the voice that I can't show you. So you see that what I told the community. Hopefully you can read it. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Right. All right, so look here, what I'm saying. SPY turned bullish at 942, I said. QQQ is trying to turn bullish, and both turn bullish. Look here what I say, that both have turned bullish. Long is okay, versus the morning lows risk. Be proactive to take some profits at 10 a.m. The first targets I gave was SPY was 558.50, and the second target I gave 494.20 on the Qs. So we always take first profits into 10 a.m. You see, and after that, and we go into 10 a.m. and then around 10:10 I see the flag. You see, I see this flag. So you need to understand that it's still not a short. It's a bull trend. It's a bullish trend. When this happens, we are not looking at short. You don't look at the shorts. You look for these candle pullbacks to go long. You look at each candle pullback to go long. You look at this candle to go long, not to short. Right? So because this is a flag, when it shows me this is a flag. And this is where you can trade the lotos. I see a lot of option traders do not understand theta. On Friday or any day, the same day options, they lose value very, very quickly if SPY doesn't move. So you need to learn the options, what options to take, right, in the money, and or stay in the money if you don't understand that. Anyways, you see this flag. So this flag was breaking out. You see this dip, swipe back right up. When I see this dip swipe back right up, I know it's a bullish, it's a flag. I told everybody hold their calls or roll with the profits. We are making a flag, and you see that the flag breakout 39. And I tell everybody at that time the ATR was just 60%, and you see there's ATR indicator that I developed for everyone, and we could go to the 100% ATR. And then that's what we did. We went to the 100% ATR. So this was the first big initial run, but then there was a seller here and we took our profits. And then when it was trying to dip down here, we even shorted it, right? You watch this. But then what happens here? This is where a lot of people get trapped, but we did not get trapped. Look here, when this happened. So you are saying, how would you know that it would go back? My system tells me that it's going to go back. We were short. Even I shorted this Qs here. I did like 80% on this fail. But as soon as it reclaimed my system bullishness right here, I say, look what I say, 512 bullish is reclaimed now. And after that, you just long it. You put your stops under the lows of these candles, stops on the lows of these candles. I told everyone we are going to high of the day. We went to high of the day, and then we get this breakout. That is the one I show you here. The curve breakout. And this is a very bullish pattern. So that's the next leg breakout. And I told everybody we could go to the 125% ATR. And we did go to 125% ATR. SPYs actually went to 140% of ATR. So what is an ATR? ATR is how much the stock moves on average. And that's 100%. And sometimes on a big days, we tend to move more than 100%. 100% is always the first target. And you see we went 150% of its average range on SPY. We went on Qs, we went 130% of its average range. Um, so that's what you need to understand and how things work for your targets. Anyways, so you see we are not short here. We did short here. Why? Because we have defined risk. Whenever you're shorting, you need to first find your risk, and you need to know when you're going to cut. We were not shorting here. We tried to short here, and when we cut, and then it reclaimed, and then we turned bullish, right? Same for QQQ, right? So you can see these were these were my 80% puts when we went here, and then these calls actually went up 300% for me. In that I had in the morning, I had Qs 94s that really ran nicely for me. So this is the morning trade that I'm showing right here at 70% that really went up later. So next we're going to talk about, so of course, right, once we hit this wall, then we hold our calls, and when this happens, that's the end of the day system. Then we're going to discuss that I will discuss it now, when was the time to short end of the day and make some money on the short side. So now let's talk about the short end of the. So we're going to talk about the fade end of the day, right? So as I told you, I was long all day. We were long all day. I showed you everything, all my timestamp guidance, and how the calls went 100, 200, 300%. But then end of the day, I was not in, but I made sure I set up alerts for my community. So when this breaks 512, that's when I set the alert, exit calls, Qs, exit calls, and that's when you had puts. The first target is always 34.50. The first target is always 30.50. What is happening? Why are we short now? Why we were not short earlier in the day? Because our system is telling us that it's a short. The trend is changing. Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. The sellers are taking over. The previous breakout did not hold. That's the good risk reward. Another thing, there's a 500 psychological level. You can always risk. Here I know my risk level. Whatever happens, maybe it bounces $1 on me. That's fine. But I know it's end of the day, and we have seen things happening at end of the day. This was end of the day short setup. System is telling us bearish. We know at last 10 minutes things can flush. We had a big push. There's a lot of things, options are expiring. We know that with experience, that's a good short. And that's where all the traders in my community, they went short on the puts on SPY, SPX, QQQs, and they made decent money. End of the day, the lotos went 100, 200% as well on the put side to close the day, nice profitable. And you can see all the price alerts going in. You can see the first price alert on QQQ was 497.88, and it hit 494, almost $4 short there. And that's how the options went crazy end of the day. And that's how you take care of the opportunities. That's how you stay long all day. And when it's time to short, you short it, right? And it's all in front of you. What I'm talking here and what I'm showing you is all right in front of you. All the guidance right there. Everybody in the community, and we celebrated because we did good. We stayed long. Nobody was short. Nobody in my community got squeezed, and not even in my community. All my other students or my followers who have been learning from me from over the years know my teachings, and it was not hard, guys. It was not hard. If you can't make money on this long today, then something is wrong. Your entry is wrong. Follow the pullbacks. Watch the cloud pullbacks to add. Keep small position. Don't load up 10 contracts. Keep 2-3 contracts and let them work out. Even if one contract, you could have made $1,000 today on SPY or QQQs or SPX, or even you're trading ES and SPY futures. It was very simple. We followed the system, the trends and the support and the pivot. Stay with the system. Take repeatable trades. Try to master a system first. Money will follow. Do not run behind the money. Run behind the system. Just make sure you understand where to enter, where to exit, when is a long, when is a short. If you can do those trades, and even if you make $10 on 10 trades, does not matter. Even if you make $1, you have to prove to yourself that you can do it. You can take those trades, right? So you see how everybody was taking the puts and the community and doing so good. So hopefully you understood that next time this happens, be on the right side, draw your levels, have a trend system, do not get biased. when your system tells you follow the system, a repeatable system, not a random system that you can repeat rest of your life. I can repeat what I did today rest of my life. I can guide my community rest of my life, and I make sure nobody loses money. That's the beauty. I promise the traders that you listen to my teachings. I don't promise like making you money like other people, but I will make sure you do not lose your money and you understand how the market works. This is how the market works, my friend, be it a day trade, swing trade, or investment. These are the golden rules and principles, and if you follow them, you master them, you will find success. Day like today, where you can multiply your account. Last 2 days, you could multiply your account by 30, 40, 50%. So you just have to stay on the top of the market, understand how the trend works, and be ready. All right, guys, let's go to the next one. So, all right, guys, now we're going to talk about Tesla. Okay, so I'm going to go rest of these plays really quickly. Today, my focus was SPY QQQ, but let's talk about Tesla. So, same thing, guys. So, what do you see on Tesla? Why were we long on Tesla today? So, initially, Tesla was bearish. So, we were waiting on Tesla to long it. So, initially, we were not long. So, we were waiting on Tesla to go long. But as soon as I saw it pushing over the clouds, and then we also saw Bookmap. So we used Bookmap in the community. There was a huge buyer right stacked right here. Right here. There was a huge buyer. You see this level, 235s. So that told me that it's not going to break down there. Initially, or I think it was at 232. I don't remember. Might be still there. No, that's a 244 buy. So there was a huge buyer. When it was dipping, we were not long. Remember, when it was dipping here, we were not long. That was bearish. We were long when this swipe happened, and then it pushed over this EMA Clouds and this pre-market highs, and then it cleared 240. That's when we long. Our stops were at 238s or 237s under the clouds, and that's when we went long, and that's when I told everybody on voice it's good to go. Because we don't really want the dip, right? And if you are short, and we were not even short yet, we were waiting, right? Because if you were short, you get out right away. But we were waiting. The waiting helped us to get in the right point entry in Tesla. So as soon as 240 was clear, it was a clear long. You start your 1/2, 1/3 position. You keep scaling in. Now it was all about target. 240 seller cleared. Then I told anybody that we go to 245s. That's what I told everybody. We go to 245s. The next target was 248, right? And we pushed, and then we logged more on that 248. Now after we hit that 248. Let's see, there was some price alerts that if I want to show you, let me see if I can show you that. Yeah, so we hit 248, but then it got a little stagnant at 248, and then when 248, look at this alert. I told everybody we can push to 250 now. So you add 245 calls, you take some profits. When it's pushing higher, you take 250 calls, use the profits to roll into them. If you made, if your 1,000 turned to 3,000, you take 1,000 out of it, you buy 250 calls, they turn to give you 50-60% returns as well. Use your profits in the options to get them to maximize your profits. And if you are new to the options, you only trade in the money. If I'm trading right here, I try to trade 240s and at 240s in this region. And if I'm trying to trade here, then I'm trying to do 245s. So basically you trade in the money or you trade next week. And after that, once our 250 target was met, there was a huge seller at 250. You see that? Huge seller at 250. So that told us we need to take all our profit, and then we'll see what happens later. So we took all our profit, and then rest we left the runners. And all day, if you were in options same day, you lost most of the value, because when the stock doesn't go anywhere, your options are not going to give you anything. You're going to lose all the value. But our main trade was this: long here, take some profits here, long here, take some profits here, and then it goes sideways. You get out when this 512 breaks. So that was a long. All my timestamp guidance is here. A lot of my guidance was on voice, but that's how you do it, guys. Tesla long, EMA Clouds long, the pivots break, and I did give the pivots in the pre-market as always. That was my pivot that I gave everybody: 238s, 241s. So same thing as I just told you in SPY QQQ. That's how you long all those setups. All right, let's now talk about Apple. So what was Apple? Same thing as all. You see the similarity between all the setups. You know, if I go to the Apple, it has the same look as Tesla. It has same look as SPY. It has same look as QQQ, because that's what is moving the market. That's that because they are part of the market, and that's what they're moving. And this was our level on Apple right here. So I'm going to go a little fast on the rest of the recaps. Let's look at Apple. 229, 230. Once 229, that's a long here. No short. Your stops are right here. 228, $1 stops. You know, and that's it. You long it, right? So I told everybody right at open the Apple is strongest. It's over the pivot, then flag breakout at 230, 232s. So next leg on Apple, and then we continue to push higher on Apple all day long, right? So my target was 230 to 41 because it was yesterday's resistance. That's where we met it. That's where we take the profit, and then we left it for the day. So nice move from 230s, 229s all the way to 232s to a nice lot of Friday win. So let's look at next one. So next we want to look at few day 2 day 3 setups. So my day 2 day 3 strategy is the repeatable strategy, which is again built on Ripster, EMA Clouds and the pivot levels, right? So because this is based upon the plays that have moved recently, yesterday, last day or day before that, and then we try to find opportunities on that. So today Pepsi was one of our day 2 day 3 setup. Let's go at the levels on the Pepsi. The day 2 setups were, the levels were 164, 165. So Pepsi, our levels were right here. The levels on Pepsi were 164, 165. So 164 was our support to hold, and 165 was our resistance. And it did, and you see that, right? This is also Ripster's MTF Clouds on the daily chart, and that's holds, and then it bounces off there, and it goes on to 168. So that was Pepsi. Now let's talk about ENPH. So I have been talking about the solar names for past few days, that we need to focus on the solar names, ENPH, NSCDG, right? If you see on my game plan right here, I talked about solar on the watch. Go back, watch my yesterday's video. I explained why solar was on watch. And of course, ENPH, our levels that we were watching were 112 and 114. And you see that it held the 114, right? The 112 was, it didn't even go to the lower level. And again, this Ripster 20 EMA 50 EMA cloud setup, and then it breaks over yesterday's highs, and that was a long all day as well. ENPH also long. I've told everybody in the morning, long over our pivots, ENPH. I told that at 9:40, and it started from 114 and it ended up at 119. Another beautiful win for the community. Repeatable setup, with the plan, using the clouds and the pivots. So next one we're going to look at is QS. So what was QS? QS was another of our day 2 day 3 play. It had a big news yesterday, and we played it yesterday. The pivots were $7 and $7.20. I was focused on other players. I did not play it, but you see that once the pivot I gave broke out, it was a long, and your stops were at 7. You risked 20 cents. You made $10, $20 all day long, right? The reason you need to focus on these is because look here, right? Number one, day 2 day 3 setup. They had news yesterday, and today you focus because we got the next leg up. So QS was really nice play for all the traders in the community, day 2 day 3 setup. So now let's talk about IWM. So IWM again was our overnight swing. I told everybody yesterday to swing it overnight, and I told everybody to hold it, do not cut it, and we did push to 215. And when the 512s broke down, that's when I told everybody make sure you take profits, because it's going to pull back to 34.50. So my swing call on IWM is pretty simple, guys. It was a nice weekly breakout setup. That's why I told everybody to swing, and there's another breakout setup. It's in the resistance zone, right? So this 214, 215, 216 area is a resistance zone. So pullback was valid, and you need to take profits over there. So you can just see the timestamp comments. Overnight swing, nicely green. Hold the swing, next leg up. 215 is my target. And what was my target? 215. And I was just short by 5 cents on my 215 target. So another win for the community. All right, next one we're going to look at some of the banks earnings we were playing today. So the first one we're going to look at is C was Citibank. 6060, 680 was our support. Chart is at all-time highs, neutral bias, cautious of 512 breaks. I already told everybody in the pre-market that we can break 512, so that means we're going to short it. And as soon as market opens, it breaks 512s, break 34.50, and C was a short for us. Let's look here. C was a short, and my target was 64. We met the 64 target, and we met 63.40 as well, even more than 64. So nice short or in the morning C for us, and you see that's Ripster EMA Clouds. That's where things usually bounce. So we are supposed to cover there. That's a nice win. You can pause the screen and see the timestamp guidance, and I already told as part of the pre-market plan as well. So next one we're going to look at is CVNA. So CVNA, what was our plan? It was an upgrade play, right? It was an upgrade by BTIG. Neutral bias. 132 was our resistance pivot. What is a pivot? Over pivot, the thing can push. You get long over pivot, and you know, if the support bounces, you get long. So those are the two scenarios where you go long, provided the EMA clouds are bullish. So anyways, let's see what happens. CVNA pushes over our pivot, and that's a long. And all day CVNA was long to the 141. All right, next one we're going to look at is JPM, which was kind of a scratch trade, right? Because there was a right support of Ripster 20 EMA multi-time frame clouds. So it didn't really work. You know, we wanted to short the pops. We were short a little bit on the pops right here. Like I say, short the pops. But I also told everyone there's MTF clouds under it, so it can hold the supports. So that's what happened, right? It was holding a support. I scratched it, holding the support, then it bounced, and then it gave actually a nice long trade because I kept mentioning the MTF clouds, MTF clouds, MTF clouds. So people know that there's a support here. That's what you can risk to go long, and then it gives a repeatable Ripster 512 curl that gave us a nice $3 move on JPM. You know, so that was a nice winner in the community on the curl side. The short kind of didn't work, but it was expected because you see here what I was you know, talking about at this MTF clouds, MTF clouds, MTF clouds. So it was expected because it was 20 EMA on the daily chart is always a big thing, guys. It's not easy to break it. Remember that, very important concept. If it broke this level, then we would have flushed to 198. No questions about that. Next one we're going to talk about is Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo was similarly a short for us in the community. You know, again, but you see the market bouncing when the financials are bouncing, everything bounces. You see why? Why was it? It never broke the pre-market lows, right? So again, there was all game plan given in the pre-market. Where did it go? Let me find that out. There was this plan already on that. Wells Fargo 56.49 neutral bias B minus curl only if PM lows hold, otherwise we will short, and that's what held. The pre-market lows held, and then, you know, I gave a curl alert in middle of the day, and then the curl alert went from 56 bucks all the way to 56.80 bucks. You know, it's a small ATR stock, so it's a good worth for long scalp. What you have to understand here is that we are not breaking pre-market lows, so the short is not going to work. So you see all those similarities between JPM and Wells Fargo. Next one we're going to talk is Costco. So Costco was our day 2 short, and it was just a short in the first morning candle, right? This big candle. If you got in the first morning candle, that was okay, because if you see 850 was the support. As soon as 850 breaks, you short it and you cover it. Once it's doing that, you get out at 844 and you do not hold it. So because market became bullish, so of course, when always watch market. When market is bullish, a lot of these names will follow the market, right? So Costco morning short trade. Next one we're going to talk about is MSTR. I was a little late on MSTR, but Bitcoin was all day bullish. And let's go look at our crypto levels. There's a reason I give the crypto levels every day. 1351, 1380, there was 2 breakout levels. As soon as it pushes over 1351, you know it's a long, and your risk is always pre-market lows, right? And or your risk is yesterday's lows. You can use those 2 levels of risk, and then you watch Bitcoin, what Bitcoin is doing. The thing is with MSTR is just, you know, the Lotto Day Friday, it just pays so good, right? I mean, I traded later on this flag breakout, and I got like just 100%, but usually it goes 300, 400%. You can see here 236, 5, it even went to $6. So so MSTR was a good lane trade in the community. Now they have a split coming up, But if it runs before the split, good, we will long it. There is some news. There's some news on that the Trump is doing something there, so there's some news there as well. So we'll watch how that goes. But MSTR was good lotto trade in the community today. And some of the traders, because our traders called out early in the morning, Reddy called out, Bob, Rock, all of them called MSTR very early in the morning. They made like from like $1, they went to like $7, $8. Like they literally turned like $1,000 to $5,000, $6,000 because you risk 100% and you try to make 300, 400%. That's how you do it, guys. All right, guys, that's all it for today. See you guys on Monday. Take care. Happy Saturday. Happy Sunday. Bye bye.